A family that seems perfect on the outside, but behind closed doors, secrets, mistakes, and fears are tearing them apart. Can they survive the storms of life, or will everything fall apart? This is the story of the Harris family, and how love, honesty, and courage kept them always together. Please, before I dive in, hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and share it with your loved ones. Thank you so much. So it was a sunny morning, in the Harris house. Feel when everything seems calm, but you can feel something underneath, right? David Harris was sipping his coffee and scrolling through the news like usual, pretending everything was fine, and Rachel was humming in the kitchen, flipping pancakes, and you could smell it all the way to the living room. Emily was at the counter scrolling on her phone, not really paying attention to anything, and Olivia was still in bed, ignoring the alarm like she always does, and little Ethan was bouncing around, shouting for syrup or pancakes or both at the same time. It looked perfect if you just looked at it, and you could even almost believe it was, but David, he felt it, like a little tension in the air, like something was off. Now Emily, she kept checking her bank account again and again, and each time she did, her stomach dropped. She had invested in this startup, thinking it was going to make her money, and now she wasn't sure if it was going to work, or if she had just messed everything up. And Olivia, she was ignoring the texts from her mom, or maybe she was pretending she didn't see them. She had snuck out the night before and didn't want anyone to know, or at least that's what she told herself. Little Ethan, he didn't know about investments or sneaking out, but he felt it, you know. He saw the way his sisters were acting, and he noticed the small size from his parents, and he just knew something was different in the house. David walked into his office, and you could tell he was thinking, or maybe worrying, about the upcoming meeting. He had discovered a mistake in a business contract, and if it wasn't fixed, they could lose a lot of money. He called Rachel, and he tried to sound calm, but you know when you're pretending. Yeah, she heard it. We might have a problem, he said, and Rachel, she just said, we'll figure it out, but her voice was shaky, like she didn't really know. And Emily, she was calling a friend quietly in her room, whispering, I think I've messed everything up. You could see how tension was building in the house and no one really knew how close they were to a storm. One evening, after another argument, David gathered everyone in the living room. We're stronger together than apart, he said, and Rachel nodded, we each have a part to play, or we will fall apart. Emily was told to help with research and planning, Olivia could help with communication or anything else needed, and even Ethan had a role, he could cheer people up, or make breakfast, or just remind everyone that they were a family. And for the first time in days, the house felt a little lighter, because everyone was sharing the load, or at least trying, and that mattered more than anything else. Dinner should have been happy, but it was tense. Olivia complained. About homework. Emily stayed silent. David could not stop thinking. About work. Rachel tried to keep the mood light, but it did not work. Suddenly, Olivia slammed her fork. Why do we even need rules? She shouted. Everyone else my age does what they want. Emily glared but said nothing. David put down his fork and looked at Olivia. Rules exist for a reason, he said. You are not ready for the consequences yet. The perfect morning was gone, and everyone was lost in their own worries. That night, Ethan woke, and the house was quiet. He tiptoed past the girls' rooms and heard whispers and sighs. He did not understand everything, but knew something was wrong. Downstairs, David and Rachel spoke quietly about money and business. Mistakes, we cannot let them See panic, said David. Rachel nodded, but her hands shook. Ethan went back to bed, hugging his pillow, and he felt that tomorrow, everything would feel different. The next morning, Emily got a call from the startup. It was not going well, and she knew she had to tell her parents. Olivia got a text that reminded her of last night, and she knew she had to confess. At breakfast, Emily spoke first. Mom, Dad, I need to tell you about my investment. Olivia sighed and prepared to admit her own mistake. David and Rachel exchanged a look. The quiet tension was breaking, and the Harris family was stepping into a new chapter. So dinner came, and it should have been normal, or at least calm, but it wasn't. Emily looked at her parents and took a deep breath. I invested some money in a startup, she said, and it's not doing well, and I'm scared we might lose some of it. David nodded slowly and said, "Thank you for telling us, Emily. Mistakes happen, or we wouldn't learn anything, but hiding them makes it worse." Olivia groaned and threw her napkin down. "If we're confessing, I have something too. I snuck out last night, and I lied to you." Rachel's eyes softened. "Thank you for being honest, Olivia. That's the first step." And little Ethan, he was watching quietly, and he realized his sisters weren't perfect, or at least they were just like everyone else, and maybe it was okay. But just when you think things might calm down, life has a way of shaking you up. David got more bad news at work, the kind that makes your stomach drop. An investor was threatening to pull out, and suddenly the family's savings felt fragile. Emily's investment loss added more pressure, and Olivia was snapping at small things, and even Ethan seemed quieter than usual, like he could feel the storm coming. Rachel worked longer hours at her catering business, trying to make ends meet, and the house felt heavy, or tense, like everyone was walking on eggshells. And the Harris family started to see that money, secrets, and pride could challenge even the strongest bonds, or at least that's how it felt. And then, slowly, little things started to go right. Rachel got a big catering order, which helped a lot. Emily learned how to manage her investment better, and Olivia volunteered at a local charity and felt proud, or maybe a little grown up. Even Ethan was helping, making breakfast or cleaning his room, or just giving hugs when tension rose, and it reminded everyone that small efforts add up. And the Harris family began to see that challenges could actually bring them closer, if they faced them together, or at least that's what they were hoping. Just when things seemed calmer, life sent another surprise. A former business partner tried to damage David's reputation, and rumors spread online. Calls came in from clients or friends, and the pressure felt like it would crush them. David felt helpless for a moment, or maybe scared, but he refused to give up. "We can't control what others do," he said, "but we can control how we respond, and we face it together or we fall apart." The kids understood that this wasn't just about money anymore, it was about trust, and courage, and sticking together, or else it could all crumble. That night, Rachel and David stayed up late, talking quietly. "Do you think the kids get it?" Rachel asked. "They do," David said, "more than they show. These challenges will teach them strength and honesty and love. We just have to guide them." Meanwhile, Emily and Olivia sat together in the living room. Emily said softly, "I feel terrible for worrying everyone." Olivia smiled, "Me too, but at least we're honest now. That counts for something." And little Ethan, lying in bed, whispered to himself, "Family is everything," and for the first time in weeks, the Harris house felt like home again. So just when the Harris family started to breathe a little, another shock came. David got a call from a client, one of the biggest ones, and they were pulling out because of the rumors. The money situation suddenly felt fragile, or scary, and the house felt heavy. Emily blamed herself, a little because of her investment loss, and Olivia was snapping at tiny things, and even Ethan, who was usually happy, stayed quiet, sensing the tension. Rachel worked long hours on catering, trying to cover some expenses, and the kids could see the worry in her eyes. The Harris family realized that sticking together wasn't just about love anymore, it was about surviving, or at least keeping things together. Emily decided she couldn't just wait. She called the startup and managed to negotiate a partial refund and a plan to recover some money. She also offered to help David look for investors, and that surprised even her parents. Olivia, seeing her sister take charge, decided she had to step up too. She apologized for sneaking out and promised to be honest, and she really meant it this time. And Ethan, he watched his sisters and thought, wow, maybe we can fix things if we all try. The house started to feel lighter, or at least not so heavy with fear. Then, out of nowhere, neighbors and friends started reaching out. Some offered advice, some small loans, some just words of encouragement or support. Rachel's catering business got a few new clients through recommendations, helping with expenses, and David realized that family isn't the only thing that matters. The people around you, the community, can make a big difference too. And the Harris family began to see a little hope, even if bigger challenges were still coming, or at least that's how it felt. One evening, they all gathered in the living room. David said, "This is serious, we may have to make sacrifices, but we do it together." Emily and Olivia nodded, and Ethan held his sister's hands, and for the first time in weeks, the house felt united. Fear was still there, but it was shared, and that made it lighter, or at least easier to bear. Rachel smiled and said, "We've got this, all of us," and the kids felt a little stronger, like maybe they could actually face whatever came next. A week later, a breakthrough came. David found a new investor who believed in his honesty and commitment, and Emily's investment started to recover slowly, and Olivia's volunteer work earned her praise and made her proud. Rachel's catering business also began to grow, and even Ethan's little acts, making breakfast or cheering everyone up, reminded the family that small things really do matter. It wasn't perfect, but it was progress, and the Harris family could finally see a future that didn't feel like a storm, or at least the storm was starting to clear. One Sunday, the family sat together reflecting on everything that had happened. Emily said, "I've learned that mistakes are scary, but hiding them is worse." Olivia added, "I realized trust is more important than freedom." David smiled at Rachel, "And we've learned that honesty, courage, and love get us through almost anything." Ethan piped up, "And teamwork." And everyone laughed, realizing even the smallest voice could teach the biggest lesson. The Harris family had faced secrets, fear, and mistakes, and they had come out stronger, or at least that's what they were beginning to understand. Just when things felt like they were settling, life threw another curveball. David's past was misrepresented online, and rumors started spreading that he had mismanaged money. Calls and emails poured in from clients or friends, and the pressure felt like it could crush them. David felt a twinge of fear, or maybe doubt, but he refused to give up. "We can't control what others do," he said, "but we can control how we respond, and we do it together or we fall apart." The kids understood this wasn't just about money anymore, or rules, it was about trust and courage and sticking together, or else it could all crumble. David called everyone into the living room. "We need a plan," he said. "We all have a role to play." Emily would help with research and communication, Olivia would assist with public outreach, Rachel would manage the household and support the kids, and Ethan would, well, he would keep spirits up, make breakfast, or just remind everyone that they were family. And for the first time, the family felt like a real team. They were facing a challenge together, and even if it was scary, it didn't feel impossible anymore. Harris family began to rebuild. David's clients returned when they saw his honesty, Emily's financial choices started to show progress, and Olivia's responsible actions earned back trust. Even little Ethan helped, making the house lighter with his smiles or little surprises, and the family celebrated quietly, realizing that trust takes time but it's always worth it. They were learning that mistakes, fear, and challenges are part of life, but facing them together makes you stronger, or at least that's what they felt. One evening, the family gathered on the couch and Rachel asked, "What have we learned through all this?" David said, "Honesty, courage, and teamwork matter more than money or appearances." Emily said, "Mistakes aren't the end, hiding them is worse." Olivia said, "Freedom without responsibility leads to trouble, responsibility gives freedom later." And Ethan added, "Family always comes first." And they all laughed, feeling lighter and closer than ever. The Harris family realized their struggles had strengthened their bond, or at least made them see life differently. With the worst behind them, life began to settle. David focused on his business wisely, Rachel's catering grew, Emily and Olivia planned carefully for their future, and Ethan thrived knowing he was loved. They had endured secrets, rebellion, fear, and financial strain, and they had come out stronger on the other side, or at least that's what they were learning. Life would always bring challenges, but facing them together made everything manageable. One evening, the family had dinner together, laughing and sharing stories. David raised his glass to family, honesty, and courage. Rachel held their hands, and to never giving up on each other. Emily, Olivia, and Ethan echoed, "To family." And in that moment, the Harris family understood that no matter what came their way, their love, unity, and resilience would guide them. They weren't perfect, or without fear, but together, they could face anything. Months later, life tested the Harris family again, but not with big storms, just small things, or at least that's how it felt. Emily struggled with a huge college project and kept stressing. Olivia faced problems at her. They were learning that mistakes, fear, and challenges are part of life, but facing them together makes you stronger, or at least that's what they felt. One evening, the family gathered on the couch and Rachel asked, "What have we learned through all this?" David said, "Honesty, courage, and teamwork matter more than money or appearances." Emily said, "Mistakes aren't the end, hiding them is worse." Olivia said, "Freedom without responsibility leads to trouble, responsibility gives freedom later." And Ethan added, "Family always comes first." And they all laughed, feeling lighter and closer than ever. The Harris family realized their struggles had strengthened their bond, or at least made them see life differently. With the worst behind them, life began to settle. David focused on his business wisely, Rachel's catering grew, Emily and Olivia planned carefully for their future, and Ethan thrived knowing he was loved. They had endured secrets, rebellion, fear, and financial strain, and they had come out stronger on the other side, or at least that's what they were learning. Life would always bring challenges, but facing them together made everything manageable. One evening, the family had dinner together, laughing and sharing stories. David raised his glass to family, honesty, and courage. Rachel held their hands, and to never giving up on each other. Emily, Olivia, and Ethan echoed, to family. And in that moment, the Harris family understood that no matter what came their way, their love, unity, and resilience would guide them. They weren't perfect, or without fear, but together, they could face anything. Months later, life tested the Harris family again, but not with big storms, just small things, or at least that's how it felt. Emily struggled with a huge college project and kept stressing, Olivia faced problems at her part-time job, and little Ethan was nervous about his school talent show. David and Rachel watched their kids carefully, remembering how fear and mistakes once shook the whole family. This time, they offered guidance calmly, or support, or a hug when it was needed, and the kids started to handle things better.